So, Mr. Active Season himself, we finally made it happen. Leroy, thanks for coming down.
Anytime, man, anytime. It's crazy to be in London in a new flat. We haven't seen each other in like 5 years now, probably.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a long time.
I don't know when the last time, it wouldn't have been the pop-up.
No?
Haven't seen you since then? The pop-up was 2020.
2020. I
Right
feel
before
like it
COVID.
was, yeah. I feel like it might have been a pop-up. Or if we'd seen each other another time, it would have been so quick, it wouldn't have counted as like,
Yeah.
really.
I saw Aiden, shout out Aiden. I saw him at a festival and it was at Park Life.
I was out the country then, I remember.
Okay.
Because I got, I did get a picture.
Yeah, from him.
From him to say, look who I bumped into. And I was like, that's just, the world's such a small place.
Yeah,
honestly.
small world.
Small world.
So, Active Season,
Mm-hmm.
for the people who don't know, I know it really well. We did a pop-up, obviously.
Yeah.
But for the people who don't know, what would you say Active Season is? What's the mission statement? What's it all about?
So Active Season is basically the pursuit of getting better physically and mentally, but every single day. So that's like the slogan, is every single day. So this started during a time where I finished my first year of uni. I was like severely, like pretty anorexic, to be fair. I'd lost loads of weight. I'd gotten into the lifestyle of just partying, drinking, not really looking after myself, not really exercising. And so throughout the summer of my first year at uni, I was just like posting every day, working out at home, just at home workouts. And I just was saying it's active season. It's a season to be active. Posted this up on my social media for about 2 months every day of me training. And eventually people started catching wind of it. People started doing it. People started reposting it. I remember getting like, go on my phone, I'd see people tag me and stuff. And it was just like active season. And yeah, the biggest thing for me is like doing something greater than yourself, but in pursuit of greatness.
Mm-hmm.
It started off as just exercise, training, going to the gym, and then it very quickly transcended to mindset, the way you think, the way you prepare yourself, and mindfulness. And then it's just ever expanding into these new avenues. Like now we've also got a podcast where we do something similar to this. We speak to people and share information of people's journeys, entrepreneurs, people who are doing it with people who want to do it. So yeah, it's an umbrella term for just self-improvement, mainly targeted at young people like ourselves, and just giving you guidance on how to maneuver through life and showing you that it's okay to not know what you're doing, but there's people who are doing it who can show you how to, who are willing to share how to do it. You just have to follow the blueprint. So
off of what you just said, what is it that you're doing every single day that allows you to, so like by design is all about intention, right? It's all about doing things with intention. What is it that you're doing every single day? What habits is it that you're doing every single day to evolve and to move forward?
I think at the moment, I'm definitely in a stage of my life where I'm traveling a lot.
Okay.
I'm opening my mind up to new possibilities. I'm breaking down barriers which I self-impose on myself, of just being like, I can't do that. I'm not old enough. Who am I to be doing that? So like this year, I've been to about 9 countries. Yeah.
All right.
Flex. Yeah. No, but the thing is, forget about going to 9 countries. I think the craziest part about that is that all 9 countries I've gone by myself.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Okay. So that's the hook, really. It's not the fact that you've traveled a lot. It's the fact that you've, stepped outside of your comfort zone and done it alone.
Like doing it alone has been like the biggest eye opener of not only realizing you can make friends very easily. I've been in moments where like I'm sat there. I remember I went to Copenhagen, which, I was sat there my first night there. I'm at this bar and I'm sat there by myself, to the point where I was sat in a corner because it was packed. There was loads of people, loads of groups, loads of friendship groups. I'm sat there in the corner by myself and I'm like on my phone. I've got a drink. I'm just kind of like feeling very nervous to like speak to anyone. I'm like, oh my God, like are they going to understand me? Is anyone even going to want to speak to me? To the point where the bartender came outside and was having a chat with me. Like, you're a loner, you're by yourself. when the bartender comes out and starts chatting to you. And from this point, it kind of I was kind of like, you know what? Like, people are friendly. Like, you've got nothing to lose. Like, just ask questions. I think the biggest thing in life is just like, ask questions. You'll develop you'll start a conversation just by asking questions. So there were 3 girls sat across from me, and I just asked them a question, and that turned into us chatting for like an hour, and it turned into them suggesting places for me to go, which just completely changed my whole experience of Copenhagen. So like that solo traveling, learning how to ask questions, learning how to be by yourself as well. So for me, what I've been doing every day is just showcasing that through my social media of me going on these trips, showcasing the crazy occurrences of life, of being like, I'm only 26, I'm doing these things, but that's only because I've put myself in that position to do that. You can do the same thing.
Yeah.
You can so easily do the same thing. The world's a lot smaller than you think. It doesn't take much for you to sort of just send it and book that flight and go experience that place that you've always wanted to go.
So I'm interested in that philosophy because you've been speaking about embodying active season through putting yourself in positions where you feel uncomfortable and doing it anyway. How much of it do you think is that versus go traveling and go be on your own? Do you think it's as prescriptive as that, or do you think it can be a little bit more just put yourself into positions where you feel uncomfortable? That is such an unuseful noise.
Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, it's a bit of both.
Okay.
So my life has just been a series of, I'll just say, like, blessings. Like, the traveling wasn't me traveling to sort of showcase the active season mindset. It was just something I was very fortunate enough to do. But throughout traveling, obviously, you come across a lot of hurdles, a lot of barriers, and a lot of things which put you to the test. And then it makes you sort of like, and then that's when active season kind of comes into my mind of like, I can't give up now. Like, there's a way around this. And then that's when I often kind of get my phone out and I'm like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to kind of take people through whatever barrier or hurdle I'm going through and show them how I overcome it.
So that's interesting. We've spoken a little bit already about having overcome barriers and feeling the fear and doing it anyway. Is there anything in your life right now that you're on the other side, where you're struggling to go through it, where you're struggling to move through it?
100%. I think right now, the biggest thing for me is the content and taking content seriously, or, really committing to content. When I first started, I was doing content because it's what I wanted to do. I was just having fun with it. It wasn't doing content in the sense of like, I'm doing content to be a content creator, or, I want to be this big personality online. But from me doing that, it's then put me in certain positions and created a bit of a personality for people online that they want that. And I'm being asked for that, and they want to see more of it. And that's been a bit difficult. Like I was saying to you, it's become difficult for me to commit to that as an obligation rather than just because I enjoy doing it. So because it's become an obligation, I've felt a little bit of pushback within myself of not wanting to do it. But then also the fear of obviously failing. Like I think it's so interesting. I've done so much, but there's still always going to be that underlying little fear of like, how about if I do it and it doesn't work out? But then opportunities like this come up where you're like, let's do a podcast. And I'm like, you know what? I'm scared. There's definitely a little bit of fear, definitely a little bit of doubt in myself of what have I got to offer. But you just do it anyway. And, this proves to me that I can do it. And it's not going to be perfect. Nothing's going to be perfect when you begin, but you just have to start and then carry on and then build up your confidence from actual action rather than sitting back and just go, I can't do it, and just calling it there.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to pivot and improve when you've got something to pivot from. And when you do something, even if it goes terribly, you get so much immediate feedback on how to do it better. Then you know how to personally make things better. Whereas if you're trying to make everything perfect, having not done anything, then you're kind of shooting in the dark in a way. It's really interesting. So how much of what it is that you do you think comes from motivation within yourself versus your expectation of what is, or what you think other people expect of you? How much of it is internal versus external? Because from what you just said, the external motivation almost acts as a barrier for you to do something. Whereas if you feel that you want to do something yourself, then you will do it.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting. I think perspective plays the biggest role in the external motivation, whether the external noise becoming either motivating or becoming something which holds me back. So for like an example, doing something like this is completely internal. Like the perspective is, I need to prove to myself that I've got something to say. I need to prove to myself that I can do this. I can sit in a room and have a discussion about a topic which may be a bit touchy or a topic which I am passionate about, but finding a way that I can speak about that in a way that an audience can understand and hopefully get motivation from. But then there's the other side of like the gym. So during the month of March, I set a target to just wake up at 5 a.m. every single day, the entire month. And that was very much based on external motivation of like me kind of making a contract with my social media of going like, every day I will get up and I will post a story and I will show you what I'm doing at 5 a.m. every day to prove to you that this is what I'm doing. A big part of that was knowing that whether it's 1, 2, 3 people, they're going to see that. They're going to wake up that day and they're going to be like, is he posted? To show that he's doing it. And, you know, it's similar to a guy called Joko Willink. I butchered his name there, but he wakes up every day at the crack of dawn. And the only thing he does is go on Instagram and he takes a picture of his watch and he posts it up there. And that to me inspired me, you know. I think sometimes especially myself, there is that element of like, if you leave it to yourself, you'll give yourself a lot of leeway.
Yeah, you can negotiate with yourself.
You can negotiate with yourself and you can very much just kind of go, oh, I don't have to do this today. But when you kind of put it out there, something I'm super passionate about and committed to is just being a man of my word. So that to me is like, I have to do it because I'm a man of my word.
Why did you stop after March, waking up at 5?
I think, to be honest, one thing that does inspire me a lot is challenges, which is very much was a big thing with active season, is setting challenges every month or setting different challenges for people to commit to. Really kind of stopped after March because it was like, okay, what's the next challenge?
Okay.
But it's actually funny. I have been thinking about it recently. But actually, during that time I spent a whole month waking up at 5 in the morning, I was so productive.
Yeah.
I got so much done and I probably felt the best I'd ever felt in a long time because it was waking up early, going to sleep earlier, thinking about everything you're doing a little bit more, going to the gym before work, and like all these things really do compound to just the biggest thing. It took out a lot of noise.
Yeah.
Took out a lot of noise because those times I'd wake up, yes, I'd post something on Instagram to show that I'm awake, but I'm then locking into work, putting the phone aside. Whereas now it's not as much because I wake up at a decent time and maybe I can find myself chilling in bed a little bit longer than I need to. I still get the things done that I need to do, but there's definitely a lot more noise being let in because I'm not being as strict on myself to do certain things.
Yeah. So I've thought a lot recently about challenges. I spoke recently about the winter arc and how everyone's obsessed with that. Right, now's the time
the
to
great lock-in.
The great lock-in and all this sort of stuff. And it had me thinking, is there any point in doing these challenges, or sometimes they can be fads, if there's no longevity to them? If you're just doing it for that month, or that period of time. And it's a question, is it just a bit of fun that you're doing for that time? Or should we be looking more to doing challenges that start off a lifelong pursuit of something? So even if the waking up at 5 a.m., if you do it for a month and you've proven you can do it for a month, and then you could just stack those on top of each other, for example.
Yeah. From
what you just said, you didn't have anything bad to say about waking up at 5. So then it begs the question, why did you stop? Do you know what I mean? And this is something that I ask myself as well, because I love a challenge as much as the next person.
Yeah.
But I think part of the reason that we love it is because there's a definite end date that we can see in sight. Whereas if it's like, right, you just got to do this for the rest of your life, it doesn't feel as great. Again, what's going on? It doesn't feel as great because you can't see the end.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is, with active season or with trying to evolve and become better, do you think that we or you should prioritize weekly, monthly, daily challenges? Or do you think it should be, right, what is it that I want to do and do with some longevity that will serve me? And let me commit to it for a day. And then once I've got a day, let me commit to it for a week and then a month, and then just expand that time horizon more so. What do you think of that?
So you made an absolutely excellent point there. I think us as humans, we definitely do prefer when we know there's an end goal in sight. Certain people are built different and they don't care about the end goal in sight. But the end goal in sight, the reason why why we look forward to that is because we can then have that hit of dopamine or sense of achievement. Right? It's the same way why when I work out in the morning and say I'm running, so I decide to jump on and do a 5K. When I hit that 5K, it makes me feel so much more empowered throughout the day because I've achieved something. My goal was to hit 5K. The reason why challenges begin and the reason why I start off with challenges is because, similar to the waking up at 5 a.m., because in an end goal, you kind of open, it's a great way to open your mind up to something you didn't know was possible. It's a great way to start off the sort of progression, start off the path of then deciding, because I think with a lot of challenges, you do find that some people just end up going, actually, I like this, and you can stick to it. Everyone's different, and every challenge makes someone feel a certain thing towards it, and certain things will stick. So you've even got like big challenges like 75 Hard by Andy Frisella. You know, that's a challenge which a lot of people start and they won't do 75 days consecutively, but that 75-day challenge does cause certain habits and certain behaviors to then stick for people.
Yeah, that is me.
And so I think it's a great point to, with every challenge, the point of doing a challenge is to get people to shift their mindset towards something that they previously maybe didn't think they could do or had limiting beliefs of.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's the case of like, people can then decide whether they want to carry on. I feel like when you make people feel forced to do something now for the foreseeable, they can very quickly talk themselves out of it.
Yeah.
Or it can become very daunting. And I think the biggest thing is that you also want to have a bit of passion and pleasure in what you do. And that passion and pleasure comes from knowing there's a bit of an end goal.
Yeah.
That. And what you're saying is so true. I think have an end goal, but always push that end goal somewhere further. You hit it and then you go, actually, let's move it a little bit further.
Well, I think if we're talking about Andy Frisella, I love the content that he puts out. And I think one of the major things that I've taken away from his content is that, have you heard about the power list? It's so simple. It's every day you write down 5 things, and they need to be 5 like atomic things. You can't distill them anymore. It's 5 very actionable things, and you just do those things throughout the day. But it's got to be needle moving things that get you closer to where you want to be.
Facts.
So it can't be, I don't know,
brush your teeth
or something like that, right? Going to the gym can be one until going to the gym becomes automatic. And then if you're going to the gym every day, you don't need to put it on the power list anymore. But I've found that doing that is just you've got 5 things. It's not a lot. Not a lot of things. And sometimes you can complete it by 2:00. And then you're completely done for the day. But that's one thing that I've found is really, really great. And the cool thing is that it resets every day.
Yeah.
So you know the whole thing about win the day, and then you just got to stack them on top of each other.
Win the day, win the week, win the month, win the year.
But even the so I think it's very easy to expand the time horizon too far. And I think what I'm getting at here is all you can do is what you can do right now with what you've got.
Yeah.
And if we stick to that and try and do the best thing that we can right now, or let's say the day, right? Even that's too long a time horizon. But if we say the day, if you win the day, then that's done. You sleep, and then when the next day comes, you do it then.
Yeah.
But tomorrow never arrives, right? All you can do is do what you want to do today. And this is why it's so interesting about, I think when you said I woke up at 5 a.m. every day in March, and I'm like, well, why did you stop? The reason that I'm pushing that is because if you're doing it every day anyway, and you've set yourself that goal, the only reason to stop is if it wasn't serving you at the time, or if you just got bored of it or something. But everything you said is so positive. So they're basically, but this is also, I mean, I do it as well. Why is it that we stop? If we do something really good and we get that positive feedback, why would you stop doing that? It almost sounds insane.
It does sound insane. And you know what? It's a great point you've made. And I think the reason why that happens, which you could say also is potentially a drawback of doing challenges, is because there's an end goal. Yeah. Sometimes you hit that end goal and you're happy. I've done it.
Yeah.
And you can, you can go back to it. But if, say, I hit that end goal and say someone or something then said to me, why don't you do it for the next 6 months? It could then become such a daunting thing that even if I'm doing it, I just end up hating it. And then I end up not I end up not posting it or end up shying away from it. I think, to be honest, there's a lot of things that we do as people naturally where it's good for you, but then you can end up falling off or stopping doing it, and you can go back to it.
Yeah.
I had a podcast with this guy talking about the gym. I think the gym is such a perfect example, is that, the gym is something that a lot of people get into and they go at it ham every single day. And it does hit a point where I think you're seeing it massively now in the space of fitness influencers and athletes, where people have been going to the gym for a long time. They finally hit a point where the gym's no longer a challenge for them. And now people are doing things to become hybrid athletes. They're going running, they're switching from lifting weights to running, or switching from running to calisthenics. And so I think the gym was obviously serving them. The gym's been really good for them. But maybe there was just another challenge that they were looking at doing, which is separate from that. And I think people do sometimes just change like that.
I mean, it's easy for us to tell us, I think you're right, that eventually doing a challenge consistently or doing something challenging consistently, if you don't switch it up, it becomes almost sterile and you don't get the same out of it. I understand that. But I think quite a lot of the time we mistake boredom for a lack of resilience on our part. And it's very easy for us to say, I'm bored of doing this now. It's not serving me in the same way. But actually that is the challenge that you need to get through. And I am someone, I like to wake up early, but then it's not every day, but I like to do it. And I think it's only beneficial. And a lot of the time, if I don't do it, it's not because of anything external. It's not because I've fallen out of love with it. It's not because it doesn't benefit me. It's because of me, and I'm not prioritizing that. Yeah. And that's why I just, was prodding down that way, because, as I say, with the gym, if you find someone who's bored of weightlifting, then they might go to calisthenics, but they're still training. The intrinsic thing is still there.
It's still there.
And it's still serving them. And actually, you find it with ex-athletes all the time. A lot of ex-athletes will go down the route of finding something else that's challenging, like running a marathon. Like, there's a lot of rugby players who do Ironmans and marathons and stuff, because even though they're not playing professional rugby every Saturday, they want to have some kind of challenge still, which is one thing. But they have squeezed all the juice out of what rugby's got to serve them, and then they're finding another fruit to squeeze, as it were. Whereas I think too often we've barely peeled the fruit let alone squeezed all the juice out of it. But that's a difficult thing to do.
It's absolutely. I mean, that's a very, like, that point is so on point with the fact that the truth is, and it might sound disheartening, but it shouldn't be disheartening. The truth is, some people are just built different. Some people are just built to be super resilient and love the game like that. But there's some people who have to work for it. It sounds like they are separate, but they can both still achieve the same outcome. It's the same as like talent and hard work, but talent still has to have hard work to it.
Yeah, I don't know.
To get to the point. So, like with the rugby players, like what you said with the rugby players, and then going on to doing Ironmans, and they've squeezed the fruit out of rugby. Yes, that's a very good point. But again, you're looking at those people who have achieved something big, who are built different. The reason why I try to keep it and focus on everyday people is because I think it's the everyday man who needs that motivation more than someone who's a bit more experienced or who's been doing something for a long time.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. I challenge it though. I think I almost reject the idea that people are built different. And I think people just maybe cultivate that resilience earlier and don't let go of it.
Yeah.
I think motivation is like, it comes and goes, right? Whereas consistency and resilience are things that you can train in and of yourself.
Absolutely.
And we've spoken about this as well. And, there's athletes, these rugby players will have rocked up to training on a wet, windy, horrible January morning, hungover, and not wanted to train, and they do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's not being built different. That's the contract that you make with yourself that you were talking about earlier, and they stick to it. And I think the ordinary person that you're referring to can do that. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and play lights out at Twickenham.
Yeah.
But I'm saying if you've made a contract with yourself it can be anything. God willing, everyone wakes up every day.
Yeah.
Right? If you set yourself a goal of waking up half an hour earlier, that's got nothing to do with being built different. That's a contract that you make with yourself, and you either do it or you don't. It's very binary. I think people are built different. My perception of it anyway, is that it's an excuse that we tell ourselves to negotiate, to give ourselves a way out. But actually, if you say, right, and you know this, you've set yourself goals and you've done it, right? Yeah. If you set yourself a goal, imagine if I said to you, oh, you know what, mate, some people are just built different. Like they would just strike up a conversation with random people in Copenhagen. If someone said that to you, you're like, no, it's about feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's about feeling the discomfort and doing it anyway. Yeah. And people aren't built different. They build themselves to be different. And anyone can do that. I really, truly believe that. I mean, this is very like Goggins style, right? But you've got so many people. The fact is, if everyone who had certain circumstances ended up with the same result, life would be boring, because it would matter that if you're born in a certain place, or if you are a certain height, or whatever metric you want to give, then A equals B, right? But it's not like that. People have come from like the worst circumstances and made the best life. People have come from the best circumstances and made the best life as well. Yeah. But anyone can go in any direction, and it's about the choices that you make yourself. And I think you can start with the contract that you make with yourself and how you negotiate with yourself. So I don't think people are built different. I think you can build yourself to be different.
So what I want to say is that the built different, there's a perspective to see it. Now, the reason why I say some people are built different, the perspective I see it from the everyday man, is you should aspire for that. Like that people being built different is something to be inspired by, something to chase, rather than it's a reason for you not to be able to do something. Does that make sense? So like, it's the same way as like, so I've got a friend, Matthew, and this guy, like throughout high school, was just the most insane freak athlete. Like this guy was just good at every sport. And the term of you're just built different is not just to say like, oh, he's cut from a different cloth or whatever, which you can also mean that. It's just to say like, he's dedicated his life to something to the point where he is literally just one of the top performers at that
Okay.
thing. So that's what I mean by built different is that
see what you mean.
It's not to say like, oh, they're just naturally born to be able to do this. I just mean they've built themselves up, like you said, to be just so good at this thing. And that is something that inspires other people. And that's something that people should be inspired by to then want to achieve these goals. I think you find it a lot with sports people.
Yeah.
Where not only just sports, us as humans are motivated by quote unquote people who are built different.
Mm-hmm.
We are motivated by people who've built themselves up to a point where they are just so different from the everyday man that we're just like, I want to get like that. You've got Kobe looking up to Michael Jordan. You've got maybe LeBron also looking up to Michael Jordan. They probably say he's built different, but you know what? I'm going to chase that.
Yeah.
That's what I mean by built different. It's not to say, oh, that's a reason for you not to work hard. That's a reason for you not to go and achieve these things. It's more to say, some people are just built different. Some people have just worked so hard that they've been able to accomplish things to a level that you and I maybe might not be able to comprehend, but that's more reason for you to go and try to achieve that.
Okay. So that makes a lot more sense. That's a good clarification to have. So in what ways are you trying to build yourself different? Who is it that you're chasing? Because I think a lot of the time we can try and pigeonhole ourselves. Like you just mentioned Kobe. So if I wanted to be a great athlete, then I might chase Kobe. But at the same time, if I wanted to be a great philosopher, I might try and chase Kobe. If I wanted to be a very dedicated father, I might chase Kobe or whatever. So I think it's very easy, especially nowadays, to try and pigeonhole ourselves. But I always like to talk about how we're all multi-hyphenates and our niche is actually us, right?
Yeah.
And that consists of all kinds of different elements, but we are incompressible people. Like you, Leroy, are one person and you've got various different elements. So when speaking about those elements, in what ways are you trying to be built different?
Okay, so the first part, I just want to address what you just said, is that I think the biggest thing with anything in life, I learned this from a very young age, is perspective.
Yeah.
Like the conversation we had walking up, you said something to me which shifted my perspective when we're talking about, trying to go from 0 to 10.
Yeah.
You can't multiply anything by 0. You get 0. But you go from 0 to 1, and then you want to get from 1 to 10, you can multiply that by 10. So like that for me was a perspective shift. I think for a lot of people, the true thing is perspective. And, like you said about looking at Kobe as a great father, that's your perspective on Kobe being built different in that element. And someone else's perspective of Kobe's being this incredible basketball player. So it's what you choose to sort of shine your light on, in a sense. So for me, what kind of has been motivating me a lot, to answer your second question, is I think especially with traveling, it's asking myself, it's doing a lot of things that like young Leroy didn't think he could do or didn't think we could do. Like that's what I found, at least myself, especially this year, saying a lot, is like young Leroy would not believe you've just done this. Like young Leroy used to wish, oh man, I wish I could go see this country. I wish I could go this place. I wish I could do this. And my goal now is like the older current Leroy is to sort of make those dreams that he had a reality and show him it's a reality. And through that, and through showing that, I'm also trying to inspire other people to do the same thing. Again, your perspective and your goal shifts depending on what you choose that to be. So previously for me, it was going to the gym and just getting in really good shape. I did that, proved to young Leroy like, yo, we can go to the gym and we can get in really good shape. Right now, my perspective has been traveling, seeing the world. So now my focus is on, okay, how do we travel the world and see all these places we've always wanted to see? And for me, that's been through getting better with networking, getting stronger connections, being better with money, and also being able to make decisions, I think, is a big one. So these are things I'm focusing on at the moment, which allow me then to be able to go and travel the world and prove to younger Leo like we can go see these places you've always wanted to see. I was in Canada. I went to go visit my uncle, and we had a conversation. It was actually, I was there, and I was feeling the sense of I don't deserve this, which I feel like a lot of people at some point may feel when they're accomplishing something great of like, I don't deserve this, especially when something amazing happens. I don't deserve this.
Yeah.
Like, who am I? Like, why am I here? And he said something to me which really struck a chord, which was, well, I didn't pay for your tickets. I didn't work the hours you had to work at your job to be able to afford to come here. I didn't get you to the airport. I didn't have to sit in that flight to get you here. And I think like you said to me earlier about like, sometimes you have to take stock of the things that you've done.
Yeah.
Is a lot of people sometimes forget to take stock of the things they've done. And then they just think life's going to happen by chance.
Yeah.
And then they stop driving for things. I think that's so important. You have to take stock of the things you've done because that also allows you to create the drive to carry on.
Yeah. I think you're right there. And, living, as I say, like living by design and by intention also means, as you're climbing to the summit of the mountain, you need to like look back and look at the view and look at how far you've come and do all these different things. And imposter syndrome is something that I talk about all the time because it's so real, especially when you're trying to get from 0 to 1 or from 1 to wherever. In climbing that mountain, you're going to inevitably get to spaces that you haven't been before and where you might feel unwelcome. But the major thing is, as you said, I think there's two parts to it. You need to look back and look at the work that you've put in to feel like you've earned the right to be there.
Nice.
But there's also a take, I don't know if you've heard it from Jamila Jamil, where if you emerge into a space where you don't think you belong, you consider it as a wedding that you've crashed. And no one knows that you've crashed the wedding, but you've got a feeling that you don't deserve it, or you get a feeling that you don't belong there. But what's the job of a wedding crasher? It's to eat as much cake, snog as many people, have as much fun, dance as much as you can before you get kicked out.
Yeah.
And the funny thing that happens is if you do that to the best of your ability, you've 9 times out of 10 anyway, whenever I felt imposter syndrome, if I really squeeze all the juice out of that experience that I can, before long, I will be accepted by the people around and I won't feel that imposter syndrome anymore. And you know what? When you don't feel the imposter syndrome, that's when it's time to go and find it somewhere else. And that's where it's time to go from like, for example, from 5 to 6 or something. That's where it's time to start climbing the summit again. And Jimmy Carr talks about this as well. If you're not feeling imposter syndrome at least once every 18 months or something, you're probably not striving enough. So with respect to you being in Canada, you feeling imposter syndrome, or were you feeling like you didn't deserve it or something? Probably you can frame it in like a positive way. And it's like, this is the cost of entry of me getting to where I want to be. If you didn't feel imposter syndrome, you wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So it's a good indicator that you care and that you're putting in effort in the right domain for you.
That's a great point.
So I think we should change our relationship with imposter syndrome.
100%. 100%. And I mean, this all ties into, again, the mindset side of active season. Of like, you go to the gym and I feel like a lot of people actually, one of the things that stops them is their mindset to it. It's not the physical constraints, it's the mindset to it. A lot of people I speak to, a lot of people that reach out to me, a lot of the things that sort of puts them down and stops them wanting to exercise or holds them back from going to the gym is they've been going to the gym, they've gone away for a week or two, they've not been in the gym, and they've come back and they're a lot weaker. And they feel like deflated. Oh, what's the point? Oh, is there even any point in doing this? And then they're like, start falling off. Oh, well, I've not been to the gym for 2 weeks. I don't need to come back and hit it every single day again. I can hit it 3 days. Then it goes to 2, then it goes to 1. And it's like, I've not been to the gym for a while. Literally, just yesterday, I had a conversation with someone who used to go to the gym every day, was very on it, went on holiday for 2 weeks, came back and just hasn't found the time to go back to the gym. And I feel like that happens a lot. It happens a lot. It's not just the gym, but I think it happens a lot with when you're striving for something and you're trying to be consistent, is that sometimes that break can take you away from that.
I think I felt it myself a lot. But I think we can reframe these difficult moments. Have you heard about, this is a slight tangent, have you heard about how Disney writers write the scripts or write the stories of Disney characters?
No.
So if you think about kids' Disney films, they all start with the protagonist singing or talking about what it is that they want. So if you think about The Incredibles, it starts off with the glory days, and then within 5 minutes, the glory days are passed and Mr. Incredible's depressed, right? So you can clearly see what it is that he wants. He wants to go back. And all Disney films start with some kind of longing for something, some kind of desire. And the whole story is about their campaign to get there. And there's always an inciting incident, which is like, okay, well, how much do you really want it? We live those every single day. So we've got to think about, I think it's important to consider those difficult moments as this is just the start of my Disney story. Absolutely. And this is what I was saying to you on the way here. Yeah. If we consider difficult moments or challenges as, you know what, this is going to make a great story. When you were talking about Copenhagen, you didn't start it with, I was living life in Copenhagen and it was great. You said, I was on my own at this bar to the extent that the bartender had to come out and see me. That's the difficult moment. And then the reason that story is great is because it talks about how you overcame that. Whereas with your mate who has gone on holiday and has come back and hasn't hit the gym and he's going through the challenge still, as far as I'm aware, that story hasn't started yet because he's at the start. He's at the start where it's like, I want to go to the gym. I can't find the time. This sort of stuff. And then when he goes and when he starts getting consistent with it, that's the evolution and that's the story. So again, if we reframe challenges as, you know what, this is going to make a great story and the story starts now, it's just a good way of doing it. I did it with content. Yeah. It's hard, but like, you know, it will make a great story one day.
Everything you said there is, I can't even add any more to it, but besides give an extra example, but you're absolutely right. So the question is, I guess the question that I ask myself every day, and I'm guessing the question that you ask yourself every day before you make the content that you make is, we're all trying to inspire people. We're all trying to get people to move from this point of either not doing it or sort of doing it to, okay, I'm actually doing this and I'm enjoying this and I'm committed to this. I guess the question is like, in what way do you find is best to show that? To influence people, to inspire people to do things? Because we can talk about it, which is, you have so many people you've got so many people who talk about mindset, talk about how to reach that next level. But like, practically, what is a way that you're trying to get people to be inspired or to level up?
It's interesting because if that happens, I'd love to inspire people and to have an effect on people, but I don't control that. So I think I try not to, and I don't think I do look at that as a metric so much. Have you heard of the phrase, the score takes care of itself? It's a phrase, I think it's been assigned to an NFL coach from the past. And his whole thing is, if we take care of our inputs, and that was as granular as make sure you put your socks on the right way so you don't get blisters, so you can play the whole game comfortably, or as comfortably as an NFL game is. If you take care of all those little inputs, the score takes care of itself. But you can't control the score.
Absolutely.
Because you can't control the opposition.
Yeah.
So if you focus on the inputs. So my inputs at the minute, James Smith, you know James Smith?
I love James Smith. He's his book actually made a massive difference to my training and how I built my relationship with food to train. And I've literally given this book recommendation to loads of people. Like, it's not a diet book.
Okay.
First book I've actually read cover to cover and thoroughly loved. And I've got his book now, which I've read, I'm reading again, which is Not a Life Coach. I think is incredible.
Yeah, he's great. And even though he started off, he might still be a personal trainer, but he does a lot of content about creating content now. And he said, like, when you're making content, just get to 100 videos, and they're going to be crap, but just get 100 videos out, done as quickly as you can. So initially that was my metric. I don't even know how many videos I've done, or in terms of short form content, but that is that's a metric that I directly influence. It's not about, okay, make sure you get to X number of followers or X number of likes or anything. It's 100 videos as quickly as you can. And I don't think I've done 100, but I've done a fair few. I don't know how many I've done. And then when it comes to podcast episodes, for example, 3 episodes every week. Doesn't matter really what it's about. It's the same as the gym, right? If the metric is enter a gym every day, you can go in for 5 minutes and then leave and do some curls, but you've done that input. It's not about make sure you PR every single time, because you can't control that. You can try,
absolutely,
but you can't control that. And actually you get a lot further. We were talking about it on the way here. Consistency is greatness. If you're consistent with it, then the score will take care of itself. The one thing that you can control is how consistent you are. But you can't be consistent at everything. You can't spread yourself too thin. So think about the things that will really move the needle in the direction that you want to in your life, and make sure that you're investing in that every day, which is what active season is. And so anyway, this is a long-winded answer to your question. I was going to say, control the inputs.
For me, as much as you said control the inputs, to me, for the question I asked you, the answer sounds to me like the way you're inspiring others is by consistency.
Yeah, potentially.
And I know, and inspiring others isn't about followers, and it's not about, how many people like a video. Like, I just truly believe inspiring others is done. You got to inspire others through action. And it's like, which way do you inspire others through that action? Do you inspire others through that action of, say, doing so? Like, for right now, the way I could be inspiring others is through taking leaps with traveling to countries alone, doing something which some people may be scared of, or doing something which some people may have always wanted to do. When I was going to the gym, the way that could be motivating people is doing something consistently, or doing something which looks physically demanding and physically difficult. And by the sounds of it, the way you're inspiring people, at least through not only your podcast, social media, and everything you're doing, is simply through consistency.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it like that, but potentially. Yeah. But I think the interesting thing is, I don't think I see what I do, or at least my reason for doing things isn't as a service initially. It is about consistency, and it's about the contract that I make with myself, and obviously I'm trying to give value and all these different things, but it's the main thing is I've told myself that I'm going to be consistent with it, so that's what's going to happen. Whereas I think it's slightly different with you, whereas you do see yourself as providing a service to people through inspiring, through showing that you can break through those barriers. So I think that's an interesting nuance.
Yeah, I guess I find it actually quite interesting. And again, I think this comes to the part of like perspective very much. So like, to me, my perspective on what you do is you saying you're providing value to people could also be you inspiring people. Because your videos that you do, especially like, say, your latest podcast about AI, that video, when I was listening to that podcast, it sounded to me like an inspirational, inspiring conversation of you explaining how, like, well, don't be scared of AI taking your job or, rendering your skill powerless. It's more just how this is the way you can maneuver through that to be empowered, to be inspired, to actually take this on, and actually don't be scared of AI, but actually use it to your advantage.
Yeah.
And when you write that script, it's, at least when you speak about it in a podcast, to me, you're not going, I do this. You're actually going and speaking to someone, the audience, and giving them advice.
Yeah.
Which to me is almost inspiring in a
sense. Well, this is something that I think I've learned a lot again from James Smith and Hormozy and the guys we've already mentioned, where everyone's got value to give. And in terms of the content game, like if you're trying to grow or trying to develop any kind of business, you need to give value.
Absolutely.
But everyone's got that value to give, and it's just through experiences. So for me, as a designer who's worked very closely with tech companies as well, AI and design seems like a good thing to talk about because I've got some expertise on it. And I was trying to come from the perspective, as you said, of a designer who has been worried about AI, but actually has kind of taken a step back and thought, okay, panicking's not going to do anything. Let's think about how we can pivot and how we can actually make the most of this opportunity. And I think that's the perspective that we all need to take. And I think it's difficult, especially our generation. I think we're very good at throwing our toys out the pram quite a lot of the time. Because the fact of the matter is, there are a lot of difficult, adverse circumstances that are facing us. But at the same time, people are making a full-time salary or a lot of money online, which is crazy. Like the opportunity is crazy. And you can't have good without the bad. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who have got really adverse circumstances and don't have the freedom to do these things. This is what we were talking about earlier as well. Nowadays, the limiting factor for us doing what it is that we want to do, it's not access to resources, it's time. And if you've got limited time, unless you're working 3 jobs and you're trying to make ends meet and these kinds of things. But anyone watching this video, especially where are we now? We're at 51 minutes, right? So anyone watching this video, you and I, it's not a matter of time, it's a matter of priorities. If you haven't got enough time, you're just prioritizing other things. If I go on a night out and I don't make it to the gym the next day, I've chosen the night out over the gym. That's not bad, but I think we need to be really honest with ourselves and just say, right, where are my priorities? Show me your calendar and I'll show you your priorities.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
I love that.
Tell me what you did yesterday and I'll tell you your priorities. And, but your priority today, for example, like you've made a bit of a journey here. You've made the time for it. So your priority was to be here, which I really appreciate. And we can allot our time to demonstrate to ourselves and to the universe or whatever where our priorities are. And I think we're saying that we want one thing, but we actually are showing that we want something completely different. We want comfort. Which is fine. That's not a bad thing to go for.
No.
But if you're trying to reach the summit of your industry or of whatever it is you're trying to do, you can't, it's so unbelievably entitled to think that you can get there just comfortably. Do you know what I mean? So this is why I'm thinking, we've got to prioritize better. And even though our generation is facing difficulty, we're also like, how lucky we are to be young and alive at the time that we are. This is crazy. It's a Saturday and we're making a podcast.
So everything you just said there, honestly, I was listening to you and I just going like, you said like your perspective on this or your motivation on this is not to inspire people. Everything you just said there was so inspiring, but it's actually in such an interesting way because it's almost like you've got lolly-coddly love where people are, oh, no, you're great. But then you've got the other side of just sort of like, I don't know what the word is, but like a tough love.
Yeah.
You're, to the audience, are almost giving them tough love because you're not saying to them, you're saying things which to them is going to be tough for them to hear, tough for them to accept. But you're only saying that because you want them to be better. You're only saying that because you, in theory, that there's someone out there who maybe was you or a younger version of you who felt that way, who wasn't doing what he was supposed to be doing and needed to hear the words you're telling him now to be like, get off your ass.
Maybe. And look, if I do end up like helping people, then obviously that's amazing. But also I'm just talking about what it is that I've experienced. And I know for a fact that yes, you need to be talented, you need to work hard, but you also need to be audacious enough to think that you can do it.
Absolutely.
But also you need to back that up with evidence, right? Otherwise you're just like a charlatan, right?
Yeah.
And when you bring all of that together and you bring the energy into that, then you're kind of undeniable.
You get crazy outcomes when you do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Insane
and
outcomes.
It's amazing. You probably notice this when you wake up at 5 a.m. every day, right? It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're dedicated.
Yeah.
And how short of a time span you can do it.
Yeah.
So if you want something, it's like, cool, prove it. Do you know what I mean? And it's really frustrating because, again, I've had a lot of privilege coming up and I've had a lot of luck. But I can tell you right now that if I would have just rode the wave of privilege and luck, I would not be where it is that I am now, which is a great spot. You need to pick something. And this is, again, living life by design. You need to pick what it is that you want and send it and go for it. And I'm not trying to be motivational here, but I'm just trying, it's just so frustrating when it's like, it's there. But I say this to myself all the time as well. Like, I haven't been to the gym today. And I'm like, okay, well, you said that you want it. You said that, summer 2026 body starts now.
Yeah.
But you're not evidencing that or whatever it might be. So
I was going to say, I've got my gym stuff. If you want to back a gym session.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it after the show. There's a gym literally down the road, so we can go.
Let's go.
Yeah, man. But it's just about proving it. And also, like, whatever, tough love or whatever it is, I'm way harder on myself than I am, like, speaking about this kind of thing. But it's, I don't know, it's frustrating. And I do genuinely think that everyone's had unique experiences, right? Everyone is their own person. By definition, that means that everyone's got unique value to offer the world.
Absolutely.
Right? The classic example that I heard, it was on Naval's podcast on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And he said, look, who else can do this like UFC, comedy, podcaster combination, right?
Yeah.
Now, there's probably a lot of people who think that they can do it, but no one can do it like Rogan, right? And like with you've got like fitness, you're also like an expert in pharmacy, and then you've got like philosophy and business acumen and all these and traveling and all these different things coming together, and then your own unique lived experiences that you've had to overcome. No one else has got that cocktail, right? And people would find value from that cocktail.
Yeah.
So in your life, there will be value. And then you also got the modeling. Like, you've got so much stuff, man. Fashion as well. There's all sorts of stuff there. And who else can bring that together right now in the way that you can? No one, right? Everyone's got unique value to offer because everyone's a unique person. And the issue now is that everyone's being very samey because we've all being fed the same algorithms, blah, blah, blah. This is very, what's it called? Conspiracy. But we're all kind of accelerating towards the mean. But that's not who we are. Like, we're all your own unique individuals with unique value to offer, and we can all do that. Like, you've got access to hundreds, thousands, millions of people with a device in your pocket. Like, isn't that amazing? Like,
I think it's amazing. Do you know what? From what you just said to me there, and I'd say even something I've struggled with is, I think people are aware of this. Yeah. I don't think people are unaware of their talents or unaware of the things they're good at. I think the thing that becomes a bottleneck now for people is how to showcase that and where to showcase that. I think right now it's like, you've got one side, James Smith talks about this as well, of like, you've got, do I put it on YouTube? Do I put it on Instagram? Do I put it on TikTok? And then obviously his answer is just do all three. But I think a lot of it now is, like you mentioned before, people on social media making a heck of a living doing things. But I think people are forgetting that they can showcase and use these talents outside of social media in real life ways. And then you can obviously push the agenda through social media. But like, I think to myself, yes, someone said this once, I can't remember who it was, where it's like, there is a plethora of books out there written by people who probably shouldn't write books or probably don't know things that well to write a book. But hey ho, if you have a very interesting life and story and you're trying to think of how to showcase that, put that all together, why don't you write a book? Why don't you, if you want to be in front of the camera, why don't you make a YouTube or, but I think there's so many different ways that people can do things now that becomes almost the bottleneck to them doing it. It's almost like the dichotomy of choice. And there's one way of beating that by doing all of it. Like, you could have had a massive dichotomy of choice of being like, well, I'm a designer. Should I just put my designs out on Instagram because that's a platform where designers are being found? Or maybe should I make a YouTube and, put my designs on YouTube? Or maybe, but then you just went, actually take out the or and. Right? And for some people, they might not be looking at putting their stuff on social media, but they feel forced to. Like you said, they're being pushed towards the mean. I think being pushed towards the mean is social media, and feeling like you have to get your stuff out through social media. Really and truly, I think some people just need to understand that you can achieve the outcomes you want outside of that.
Yeah. It's
even like to bring it towards the gym. And one thing I definitely felt is that I was exercising and I was putting my fitness journey on social media, having loads of people ask me about stuff like that. And then people were saying to me like, why don't you become a PT? Why don't you become an online coach? It sounds reasonable. It makes sense. But that's not what I wanted to do.
That's fine, but it's also not all you're about.
It's not all I'm about. Yeah.
Again, you look at, God, we've mentioned him a lot. Do you want to sponsor the video? We looked at James Smith, right? And he is a PT. He came up as a PT, but now he's almost graduated from that. And now he's a business owner, multiple businesses. He's a speaker. He's an author. He's a content creator. He does all sorts of other stuff. So you can maybe have the ability to be a PT and you can give a bit of advice. I mean, we'll see in the gym.
Yeah.
You can maybe give a bit of advice or whatever, but if you don't want to just be that, then that's fine. But I think you said something interesting, and this comes back to the 0 to 1 concept I was talking about earlier, where when you're starting, everyone's got value, and people are trying to figure out, from what you said, people are trying to figure out how to best communicate that value. You're starting from the wrong place. You're starting at 0, right? Which means you've got value, but you haven't communicated anything. You communicated 0. Communicate something. Get to 1, right? I don't care how it is. I don't care if you're putting up flyers, if you speak to people on the street or whatever, or if it's on social media. Get to 1. And then you can expand out. Then you can start climbing up.
Yeah.
I was posting designs and graphics and stuff ages ago, and then it just became about doing that consistently. And that was when the 365 challenge came about, right? And then from that, it's okay, right, that's gone from 0 to 1. Now I'm kind of considered a designer. I've got a bit of design rep. And then from there, I could go from 1 to 2 because I had this portfolio. Now I need to organize a portfolio, and now I need to actually do some design work that gets paid. And then you just keep climbing up that way. But I said this to you earlier, creating something from nothing, 0 to 1 is the hardest jump. Yeah. So stop trying to go from 0 to 10. That's ridiculous. That is insanity. I can't just want to be Virgil Abloh. Do you know what I mean? I can't just want to be him. You need to go from 0 to 1 first, like everyone did.
Yeah.
And the interesting thing, I think Williamson was about this as well, is that if you see someone successful, you want to copy what they're doing right there and then, but you don't want to copy the climb. And let's say I wanted to be Messi, right? I can just be like, okay, so Messi, and everyone does this. Do you remember when Game Changers came out on Netflix?
Oh, mate, that changed. Everyone became a vegetarian and vegan after that.
Overnight, right?
Overnight. Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of it's been debunked now. Right? It's probably not the most reliable documentary.
Yeah.
But when Messi got shown on that, it's like, right, in order to be a great, this is the silver bullet. The reason I'm not a great footballer is because I eat meat. Who would have known? And it's like, no, it's because Messi was making sacrifices as a kid.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's very talented, but he was making all these sacrifices. He had long training sessions when he was a child. You've got to start there.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Same thing as, and this is where it really got drilled home for me. Learning languages. So I learned Spanish at school, and then I lived in Spain for a bit, right? But the best way to learn a language is not through the school system, especially in the UK. It's really, really bad. The best way to do it is to acquire it, which means you are exposed to content which is slightly out of your range, right? Which is why when you're a baby or when you're a toddler or whatever, you watch TV shows with really simple language, and then eventually you just pile up bit by bit on top. So if you're trying to learn whatever, language, if you're trying to learn Arabic, you should watch a kids' TV show for children in Arabic completely, because that's one level, because everything is so, they're acting with their bodies and it's not only language, you'll be able to understand what's going on without understanding the words.
Yeah.
It's slightly out of your range. You need to start there and then build up eventually to fluency. But I always consider it as when it comes to languages, but also when it comes to anything, you should have an age rather than an ability. So you have got a certain age with all languages. You're just a baby. So you need to consume baby content in those languages to build up. Same way, if you want to become Messi, unlikely now because we're a bit older, but just for the metaphor, if you want to become Messi, do what Messi was doing as a youth and do it like that, and then come up. I'm very happy to say it. In terms of podcasting, my favorite podcaster is Chris Williamson. So I am doing what it is that he was doing. Like this I showed you, this literally looks like his early podcast. Yeah. So you got to copy, if you want to copy the people who come before you, that's great, because they were just experimenting, right? If the forefathers or whatever you want to call them, or any domain, they were just experimenting. Now they've tread the path, but they've already got into the castle. You can't get to the castle without treading that same path. So tread the path. Like, it's already been trodden for you.
You know, with everything you said to me, everything you said there, to sort of maybe put it simply for the audience and to just summarize it, it's basically what you're saying about just like, you start at the basics.
Yeah.
Start at the basics,
and at the
build
beginning.
a foundation, start at the beginning, because like you said, you're seeing your favorite influencer, you're seeing your favorite gym motivator, whatever, doing something, you want to go run straight to it.
Yeah.
And you're missing the basics. And I think the big thing at the moment with a lot of people is they are missing the basics. They don't want to commit themselves to the basics of how you start to build something and get to the point where you want to get to. And I think a lot of us can be guilty of that in various aspects of our lives. Either with training, or either with designing, or either with video editing. Like, the amount of times I've like sat there and I've gone, I'm going to make this super complex video, and I start and I get maybe close to it, or I don't get anywhere close to it, and I'm like, don't even understand the basics. And I had to kind of step back and go, what are the basics of creating a video? And get good at being able to do the basics. And that changed my ability to just edit videos massively. Just from me just going, let me just work with the basics for now.
Yeah.
And like, I really, really like what you said about the age.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that is so important. If you're in theory with your languages, if you're a baby with your languages, learn the baby.
It's amazing.
I love that.
I was trying to learn French last year, and I was watching Phineas and Ferb in French.
Yeah.
And like, you acquire more, and then with, just to round off the metaphor, round off the example, with kids' TV, there's a lot of repeated phrases. So in Phineas, did you watch Phineas and Ferb?
I did.
So every episode, Phineas says, I know what we're going to do today. So now, after 3 episodes, you know how to say that in French because it's repeated so much. Isabella says, what you doing? Every episode. So now you can go to France and ask people what they're doing, because qu'est-ce que tu fais? It gets repeated every episode. I didn't know that before, but now it's stuck in my head because I heard Isabella say it every single episode. So, you know, when you start at the basics, you remove the friction of learning stuff, right? It's like, okay, you want to learn video editing? Cool. Make the video to start off with. You can't edit a video that's not made. So make the video and learn how to make a good video. And then, this is what I always say, like, look at good work and then figure out all the different components that goes into making that work. Start with the basics, try and make it good. And eventually, at the start, in my experience, you're doing too much. You're adding too many layers on top, right?
Transitions everywhere.
Yeah. But it's fun, right? And you're just learning. If I look at my early designs, there's just textures piled one on top of the other because it was fun. They're fun to use. And then eventually you realize that actually simplicity is where it is the ultimate sophistication, right? And the more simply you can achieve a result, the better. So I could have and you know the whole all the gear, no idea kind of thing. I could have invested in, you know what, let me get a light box and all this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But then you realize that actually natural lighting is probably the best lighting.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. This would probably look way better in a studio.
Yeah.
But you work with what you got, and then you learn how to just use the different bits. And then now, if I did get a light box, I'd know how to position it better because I've worked without one for ages and I've started from the basics. So I completely make you right. Start off at the age that you're at. And if you're starting something new, you're a baby. But that's fine, because what do we do with babies or kids when they're learning English, right? If they make a mistake, we laugh and we're like, no, it's this or whatever. We need to treat ourselves the same. If we make a mistake, give yourself some grace. You're going from 0 to 1. You're doing the hardest thing, objectively, the hardest thing that you can do, which is creating something out of nothing. Give yourself some grace, man. Like we look at kids learning a language and we're so patient. And then when it comes to us learning a language, we're not. And I think that's the reason why kids are better at learning them. It's not because, I mean, you know,
they can absorb things as a sponge much more. But you're right. We don't prosecute them or put them down for getting things wrong as much as we do to ourselves as adults, because we think we know more, we should know better.
Ego.
And it's ego.
It's all ego.
It's so ego. I think so from like this podcast, and I know we've probably got different, we might have different perspectives on what this podcast or what our conversation is trying to tell the people. From what we've spoken about, to me, for like the audience listening, who's sat at home, who's watching your content, who's maybe a designer or sat at home and wants to get into fitness or, you know, wants to travel the world, the way you do it effectively is, like we spoke about, you figure out what it is that you want to do. You get sort of specific on, you know, what it is you want to do. You figure out where you are, who you are, what sort of things fit around to make you the person you are, whether you're this fitness, traveling, motivational model, speaker, all these things. And then you start the basics of whatever it is you want to do. So if you're this designer who loves watching anime and is inspired by Japanese culture, and you want to create a brand, or you want to create whatever it is you want to create, once you understand what it is that you specifically like, and you understand who you are and things that inspire you and that make you you, you start the basics of how to design, whether that's watching YouTube videos or going at the most basic rate level of learning how to design. The last bit, or maybe even not the last bit, I think we should probably get to the last bit. The middle bit is then figuring out how you want to put that out, and not being scared at either doing what you've done and doing it and doing all the different avenues that you want to put things out at. Or also the alternative is like doing something unconventional, not feeling tired to having to put information out via social media. If social media is not your thing, it doesn't have to be your thing.
Yeah, I agree.
You can be there's people out there who write books, incredible books. They don't have to manage social media. They don't have to do that. They have someone who will do all of that for them.
Yeah, but you need to get to that point.
And you need to get to that point. But I think, you know, to overstress yourself, I think a lot of people stress themselves with having to master the social media game, and it stops them doing what they need to do, rather than just understanding, just do what you have to do. And, you know, every CEO says this. Every CEO, every person who's made it big always says this, which is hire your weaknesses.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, just
100%.
And so we've got that. We've got, you know, pick what you want, figure out who you are, you know, learn the basics, how to put it out. What's the last bit?
So I'd almost make those bits a little bit clearer. I like how you're rounding it all off. I'd say, instead of figuring out who it is that you want to be, I think in our heads, we can spread ourselves too thin because we think that we've got infinite ability and time. And that's what stops us, because we don't commit to anything, because there's, Paul Moses says this. Have you seen The Matrix?
Yeah.
So, you know, you've got the lady in the red dress, walks past, distracts him, and then he ends up like getting shot or something like that. There's always a lady in the red dress. There's always something new to put your attention on. But actually, you need to keep going down the rabbit hole that you've chosen, and you kind of need to commit to that. I think the best rabbit hole to go down is what is authentically you.
Form your identity.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And the way that I have found is useful to do that is picture your ideal day in life. It doesn't matter how old you are, your ideal day, and be really granular. What time are you waking up? What time are you going to sleep? What are you doing in the morning? What's your morning routine? Like what are you doing in the afternoon, evening? All of these different things. That ideal day, right? And it's not, I'm not saying, oh, my ideal day is like getting married or something. You're like, you don't get married every day. It's what's your ideal day to day, okay? Pick that. And then you've only got 24 hours. So you can't say, right, I'm gonna, like, I've got a modeling shoot for 4 hours and then I'm gonna get an 8-hour flight and I'm gonna do a bit of a, because there's not enough hours in the day, right? You got 16 hours awake, right? So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna fill up that time? That makes it very, very clear about what your priorities are. And if the gym's not in there, then you don't really care about the gym as much. It's a distraction.
Yeah.
Anything, you know how like, there's this idea that you write down the top 30 things that you want out of life. You concentrate on the top 5, and then the other 25 you ruthlessly avoid because they are distractions, but they're enticing enough. You've written them down. They're enticing enough to distract you from what you really want. You can have anything, but you can't have everything, right?
Absolutely.
So be really clear on what you want. And I think the what's your ideal day is a really good way of doing that. And then do the power list. Write down there and then, what 5 things can I accomplish today? Atomic things, what 5 things can I accomplish today to get me closer to all or one of the things that I want to do in my ideal day, right? And for me, it just so happened that was content, because in my industry, it just helps to have content. I don't know if there's an industry where having a presence on social media doesn't help. I think it's good to have it anyway. If it's not your thing, then fine. But I think it serves you well to make it your thing. In my most recent interview for a job, my content came up in the interview, and that's part of why I got it. Because as I said to you earlier on, you can tell that I kind of live and breathe design, right?
Yeah.
So even if it's just optics, it's really good. But 5 things. And then every day, try your best to achieve all those 5 things. You may not, but it's not about that. It's about the intention. It's about you've got 5 things that you want to achieve. Do those 5 things. If you get them, the rest of the day, do what you want.
Yeah.
And then do the same thing tomorrow. But make sure that your North Star is always the same. Because our North Stars are changing too much. Because there's so much abundance. We're changing who it is that we want to be all the time.
It's like the dichotomy of choice that I mentioned.
Yeah.
So much choice.
Yeah, there's so much choice, and it's overwhelming. Pick what it is. Essentially pick a lane. As I said, you can have anything. You can have anything. But to think that I can be Michael Phelps, Tiger Woods, and Lionel Messi, and be good at all 3 to that ability is so entitled. Like these guys have dedicated their entire lives to something, and you think that you can be all of those people? No. Dedicate your life to being the best version of you. But the hardest thing is understanding who that is.
Yeah.
And one of the easiest ways that I have found to try and identify that is, okay, well, what does my ideal day look like? And in that, it's, communicating with family. Maybe there's kids around or whatever. So I know that family and like friends are important to me. So that means that I'm not going to cut that part out of my life, because actually that's part of my ideal life. I've gone down the thing of, you know what? I did a marathon, right? And I've gone out, you know what? Maybe I do want to be the guy who does ultra marathons and shit. Like, maybe I do. That's not included in my ideal day. My ideal day has not got running in it at all. It's got going to the gym and coming home. So it's a distraction. That whole bit is a distraction. Now I get, fitness, and it's important to be fit and healthy and everything like that. But a 5K is very different to going out for a 10-mile run or whatever, right? There's ways to do it and to put it into your life and to stay healthy that aren't distractions. But I think too often we see the top of the mountain and we're like, oh, I love that. My friend Lewis, he's just done another ultra and it's become his identity. He is the closest thing in my friendship group to Goggins that I know. Wow. He is an incredible person, athlete, guy, all-round guy. But everything he's doing is so impressive. And sometimes I'm like, oh, that's so motivating. I want to do that. But I don't want to do that, but he's motivated me to, every day he's out for a run. Every day I want to move towards my North Star. Yeah. Right? And this is why, 75 hard is great. But I almost think like, okay, but what's yours? Like, what life do you want to live? What's your ideal day? And how are you doing something every single day? What habits are you doing every day to move yourself towards that? Because you don't need to, if it doesn't serve you, you don't need to be this like ripped guy or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like, obviously there's advantages to it, but you don't need to do someone else's winter arc. What's yours? And I think it's got to be so personal because everyone's different. So again, long-winded answer. I think figure out what it is that you want through the ideal day. Every day, execute on it. And I don't care what's going on. Greatness is not only consistency, but it's your ability to execute when shit's bad. Right? So execute. When shit's bad, that is the universe testing you. How much do you really want this? Right? How much do you really want it? And then just be consistent with it. And measure that consistency of your inputs rather than the outputs, because the score will take care of itself.
Absolutely. I mean, to what you just said there about greatness is when things are going bad, it's like, even the way we've just made this happen.
Yeah.
Like that, this was not easy for neither of us, to be fair. Like you still had to figure out, okay, like how am I gonna, okay, he's coming through early, how are we gonna get this all set up in time?
Bro, parking in London is a fucking nightmare.
Oh my God, that was actually, even just doing that was like a chore itself, but even just the way you set this place up, I was sat here watching you set it up and I was like, the levels of effort you're going to make sure this is perfect is almost like you're powerless in a sense.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's
the only superpower, really, consistency. And like, it's just showing up. Show up to do it. And look, doing a 1 out of 10 workout, this is the same shit. Doing a 1 out of 10 workout or doing a 10 out of 10 workout, both are better than doing a 0 out of 10.
Absolutely.
There's you can multiply 1 out of 10. You can work with that. It's giving you something to work with. You can't multiply a 0 out of 10. 0 out of 10 is nothing. Show up and do what you can where you are with what you've got. And that's it. And look, I'm waxing lyrical as if I've like made it to the summit. This is just what I'm doing. And, anytime I'm like looking back at like how things have gone and stuff, I'm in a better place. And it's just about trying to be in a better place than you were before. And I think this is like the best way of doing that.
Absolutely.
And that's active season, really, isn't it?
It is literally active season. It's every single day, right? Like that's why the slogan came about, is because it wasn't just like do it for a bit and then that's enough. It's like do it every single day. Every day. That's why even now, like I remember I was going travel because I've been traveling around a lot. And I remember there was a period of time I was traveling around so much, I was not getting to the gym as much as I wanted to. And I just remember said to myself, like, yo, now whenever I travel, I'll make sure I bring some stuff for the gym with me all the time. Yeah. No matter where I go, I'll always pack a gym kit because, to be honest, people say, oh, like, I've been traveling, I've not been able. The way the world is now, you can find a gym anywhere.
Bro, you can also like press ups.
And you can work out at home.
Do the Bring Sally Up challenge. Have you seen that?
We've done it a few times in the gym.
That is so hard. But do that and then do 100 squats, and that's a bit of a workout. Like you're gonna be burning.
Yeah.
It's as I said earlier on, there aren't excuses apart from the ones that you give yourself. And if you're willing to like listen to your own excuses, then it's evidence that you probably don't want it as bad as you do, which is fine. Just be honest with yourself. Like we've just got to be honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
What's next for you? What's next for Leroy?
What's next for me? Good question. Right now, I'm actually in the process of figuring out what's next. There's so many, I'd say, carrots being dangled at me with content creation, with prospectively moving countries.
Okay.
Yeah. And, definitely living and not starting a new life, but just putting yourself in a different environment.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm looking at things within the next sort of 6 months. Right. I used to look at things very much looking at things on a monthly basis, maybe even shorter than that. Right now, I'm looking at things on a 6-month basis, which is at the moment, it's figuring out where it is I want to live. Right now, I'm sort of trying to figure out if the UK is really where I want to be or if I want to move abroad.
Yeah, there's a lot of people doing that.
Which is, you got to really, Naval talks about there's 3 things that you really have to like spend time thinking about. It's where you want to live, what you want to do, and who you want to do it with. Those 3 are the most important things to think about. Those things are things I'm thinking about at the moment. In terms of myself and maybe say what I'm putting out there for people, it's right now I'm experimenting with being a bit more myself through my social media channels, not only just posting the highlights of what my life is like, but I'm also talking about things which are inherently me and which inherently affect the way I feel, the way I see things. Someone said to me, they were like, I love your content, but I'd love to, find out how you really feel about certain things that you do. Those down days, you know what I mean? Because everything looks amazing, but I want to know, like, what is it like to actually, like the story I told you about Copenhagen. People will see the real, or they'll see an Insta post about Copenhagen, but they won't know that how I felt in some of those moments.
It's funny you say that. There's a really interesting video from the creators of South Park, and they say if you want to have a story, you map out all the beats that you want, an engaging story. You map out all the beats that you want. And if between each beat you can say, and then, it's boring. No one cares. But if you say, but, and therefore, then there's cause and effect. Then something happens. How do they get over it? And all these different things. What makes life interesting is overcoming these things. But it's discomfort. So discomfort is interesting if you get rid of the noise. The discomfort is interesting. And actually, consistently talking about success is boring.
Honestly, even I was actually having a conversation with my friend about this the other day. Really, really interesting conversation. When I was in New York, and it was my last day in New York, and we'd walked to we just had an intense day. Like, we've seen so much, and throughout this whole trip, throughout America, I'm seeing things and I'm literally saying to myself, how can this get better? And there's no way this is going to get better. Like, I've seen everything I have to see. There's no way this is going to get better. It's my last night in New York, and we've cycled around the whole day. Me and my friend aren't feeling the best. And we've somehow managed to get to West Village by the harbor exactly at sunset. Not planned. We mentioned this, but we hadn't planned it. And we've sort of got to the harbor and it looks insane. Like, it's sunset, there's so many people there. It's like, whoa. And I'm stood there and I'm looking out. I'm looking at New York at sunset. This is something I never thought I'd be able to do. This is something I could only, like, someone said to me I was going to be doing it. I was like, what, how, what, when? Could not even fathom it. And I was like, man, what's next? Where do you go from here? And that was the moment to me that made me realize, to be honest, people chase success and they think success is going to be this moment where everything just sort of makes sense and you're just sort of like, I've seen it, I've done it now, this is it. But actually, the best part of seeing that sunset and being there was me turning to my friend and being like, I can't believe you just cycled from one part of New York to another part of New York.
There you go.
And it's the progress. It's actually, even like saying to my friend, I just bought a new car. When I bought the car, I drove it home. I got home and I parked it up and I jumped out. And I was just kind of like, I've got it now. It actually doesn't feel all that inspiring. But then I thought about the amount of time I spent working, saving up to get that car. That to me is the thing that's the thing that for me, I look back and that's what makes me smile.
It's like we spend so long chasing the sunset or the car or the thing to only arrive there and have the time and the space to think about all we did and all the sacrifices we did to get to that thing. So really, the journey is where all the value comes from.
The journey is 100%.
The destination just gives us the space to really reflect on that and appreciate it.
And I think if more people took, like we spoke about earlier, about giving yourself grace, I think if more people took stock a little bit of what they are doing and how that's going to get them to the certain point, they are going to enjoy the process a lot more.
I agree with that.
And that finish line where they think everything's going to be so amazing is, you're still going to want that. You're still going to look forward to achieving that, but you're going to embrace every single moment that you get to do. You're going to be so much more present in where you're at and what you're doing. And when you're present, that's when you really can just draw in as much as you can, or even give as much as you can. You know, if you're somewhere and you're just thinking about the future, you're not there in the moment. You're not there giving as much as you want to give, because in the back of your mind, you're cycling this other thing. Your attention isn't fully on the moment. Like right now, I'm so in this moment.
You're so present.
Because I'm understanding the fact that, like, when this episode comes out, if I'm thinking about anything else besides this right now, people can feel when you're there.
Yeah.
People can feel when you're in the room and when you're really present in something. And I feel like taking stock of where you are and what you're doing, and how like this podcast could go out and like could either absolutely do crazy numbers or it might not, but someone could listen to this and get inspired and end up doing and achieving their dreams from the conversation me and you were having.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. It could. I think there's been a lot of value in this. And again, focusing on the input of, okay, we've done it. We've done it to the best of our ability, but very present. What happens will happen.
What happens happens.
What happens
Absolutely.
happens. You need to have some peace with that.
Mm.
Mr. Active Season, Leroy, thank you for coming on the show.
My guy.
Mr. Active Season myself.
Guy.
Where can the people find you? Is there anything you want to plug?
Yeah, so you can find my Instagram, Leroy Nyathi. You can find the Active Season page, which is activeseason_ as well. And YouTube's going to be coming out at some point. I mean, the trip to America was so insane. I am just going to chuck and pile everything we got up to. And if people want to check that out and just see what my travels look like, and hopefully get inspired to travel and just take that leap, then yeah, the YouTube will be there. We'll put the link on that soon enough. But yeah, Jaden, thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing as well. Like inviting me to come onto this podcast and the questions you've asked. Incredible questions. And it's been a great conversation.
It's been a pleasure. Appreciate it, man. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you on the next one.
See you on the next one.